TV News, and thank you all for coming out today. Did anyone see Kick-Ass yet? Has anyone seen it? That's good, because we know what we're talking about then. I saw it last night. It was my second time seeing it, and when you see it the second time, it's going to get even better, trust me. We've got an amazing panel today. You know, we've all seen so many superhero films. Maybe we thought we'd seen every permutation of a superhero film. I think it's safe to say, for anybody that's seen Kick-Ass, that the group that's coming out here has truly found a new way into this genre. And when the world at large sees it in April, they're all going to share in what you've experienced. So without further ado, I'm going to bring out this amazing panel. Here they come. John Romita Jr., Mark Millar, come out, guys. Kick-Ass himself, Aaron Johnson. We've got Chloe Moretz.
Oh, Matthew, of course you're me.
Director, Big Girl director.
Yeah, I was lucky enough.
So we're going to open this up to questions very soon, but I got a few questions in first off. So, okay, who among me is responsible for this madness? Do I blame you? Do I blame John and Mark? Is there a shared responsibility?
You blame Mark and you can praise me.
It was all Aaron's idea. He just made it up as he went along.
This is a very unique collaboration. You know, we've seen a lot of comic book films based on properties that have been around for years. This really came about simultaneously, essentially. Mark and Matthew and John, could you guys speak a little bit to the chicken or the egg? How did this all start, and how did this sort of come together, wherein we have this 8-part series and this comic book?
In 1956, my parents.
Does it all start with you, Mark?
Yeah, it was just, is this mic on okay? Yeah? Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Can you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. About 3 years ago, Matthew was going to be doing Thor, and it didn't quite work out, and he was just looking for a new project. And we have a mutual friend who thought, you know, you guys would get on well, and we had a phone call that lasted about 4 hours. Normally this is a first call with someone, it's a couple of minutes or whatever, but we just talked all afternoon about all these kind of geek things that we were into, and both thought it'd be quite nice to work on something together. And Matthew just said, what have you got? He was looking at a few writers, a few potential projects, and I had a thing called American Jesus, which was a sequel to the Bible. This was my plan. I thought the Bible sold pretty good. I'd quite like to get in on that. And Matthew, Mark, Luke and John are all dead. They won't be looking for any cash. And so Matthew and I talked about that briefly, and I just mentioned informally that I'd started writing a thing called Kick-Ass, and I'd only written 2 issues, and I was working on the 3rd. And I said, send it down, and he read it and really liked it. He said, can you finish the 3rd, let me see it? And I sent it down. He said, where's the 4th? I said, give me a week. And then I wrote that and sent it down. He said, where's the 5th one? I was like, I can't do this, you know? And he said, do you mind if I just move on from here then? And I was like, and it was weird, it was so informal, there was no agents. Is there anyone in here who's an agent? Right, good. You know, all the guys who normally ruin everything, like agents and lawyers and all that, it was just like 2 mates, you know, just saying informally, you know, let's do something together, you know. So Matthew went off and did a draft of the screenplay. I mean, I had very loose notes. I've written a bit of issue 6 and things to hit Girl Lodge and stuff. But Matthew went off and brought all this new stuff to it. It was really cool. And all the best bits I nicked and then put back in the book, you know, which was great. And before we knew it, a screenplay emerged, and then Jane Goldman came in and did another draft. Magnificent. We thought this is the Pulp Fiction of superhero movies. We thought we're awesome, and then everybody said it was shit. They all hated it, you know. Every studio knocked it back. So that's the very long answer to me.
Well, I want to ask you, Matthew. I mean, Mark mentioned that you obviously almost helmed 2 superhero films prior to this. Why this one? And you know, I mean, it seems to me watching it, this seems to be the first kind of self-aware superhero movie. It's kind of the first postmodern superhero movie. How important was you, and how refreshing was it for you to kind of approach this material in a unique way?
Well, you've answered the question for me. I wanted to make a postmodern superhero film. I thought this when I was looking at Thor 3 and a lot of other scripts I read, they all just felt you could change the superhero characters and the film would be virtually identical, just a different baddie, different goodie. And I felt it was time, I wanted to try and recreate the feeling I had when I first saw a comic book movie of that. I was like, wow. And when I read the Kick-Ass, well, I can't even remember our phone call, to be honest.
Maybe I was doing the talking. You maybe hung up 3 hours earlier.
I might have, as you can tell by the long answers. It just felt the right thing to do. And I was sort of getting bored of the Hollywood bullshit. Sorry. And I thought it was time to do something independent and different.
You've obviously assembled a talented young cast that's here with us today. I should mention that Nick Cage is shooting a film, which is why he's not with us. Aaron, you I know were up for both Kick-Ass, but you also were up for Red Mist, right? You auditioned for that one.
Yeah, Matthew, you won't know that one because
Crap.
we did. I think it was like it was quite a couple of months before. There was a sort of there was a casting process in London in which they threw out a few sides. We never got a script or anything. Had to do a line sort of thing reading for Red Mist, but as I kind of heard, you didn't even want a British kid, so
I didn't.
So I don't think you probably saw about
This question come out.
It's just quite lucky, really.
Yeah.
Because then, a couple of months later, I was out in LA and then got the script, and the next day did a casting, and then I met Matthew later on in the day, and then the next day we did a screen test. So
And I didn't believe he was British.
so I was kind of sort of right place at the right time, and I was really fortunate and lucky to be there. So.
Is this, every kid, it's said in the movie, at some point in our lives, everybody wants to be a superhero. True for you, Aaron? Is this wish fulfillment for you as an actor?
Yeah, it's, as a boy growing up, you always want to be like whatever Batman, Spider-Man, so this was a fantastic opportunity to be, but, put a sort of a twist on it, a superhero with a twist, not the typical sort of, the superhero that can fight and all sorts of things, it's, you kind of feel sympathy on the guy because he gets beaten up a lot and you kind of just want to feel like you mother him all the way through. So.
You've already snuck a peek at all my questions, so you know what's going to be next, but why were you adamant that at first that Kick-Ass was going to be an American?
Well, I'm an English director, Scottish writer. I worried that we'll do like a Mary Poppins and have a version of an American kid. So I just felt I needed an American to help me make sure. I'm not a teenager either, so I just wanted a teenage American boy, but we couldn't find one.
There aren't many.
500 kids I auditioned, but I think a lot of the kids wanted to be famous and they weren't interested in having any acting technique.
So, Aaron, Chris, Chloe, you all, again, kind of wish fulfillment. You get to, you have quintessential superhero costumes in this. Tell me about that first time you look in the mirror and see yourself in these insane costumes.
That was the most badass I ever felt when I was looking at that costume, to be honest.
No, that's not true, Colin.
You look like
He complained he looked like Michael Jackson in Thriller. And
When we first made the costume, it was red on the sleeves and black here, and you came in and said it looked like Michael Jackson. It was completely,
And then
thrown
you-
away. And then
Yeah.
reversed the colors around, and it turned out to be really
You
good.
padded them out of muscles and all that stuff.
Yeah, the very first
My
costume.
7-year-old fits into his costume.
Well, Aaron, you said like the very first costume, I looked like the Michelin Man because it was like the fake muscle padding all over. So I was just kind of bulky and walking around like this and very uncomfortable. I'm glad we got rid of that.